Hello everyone, this is Mr. Fung with Week 1 Bass Lesson. In this week's lesson, we reviewed how to stand appropriately with a good posture with the bass, and we started to pluck some of our strings. So let's get started. I want to talk about the end pin. Well, firstly, the instrument should always be on its side when it's on the ground. We want to avoid putting the instrument on its back flat, like such, as the different surfaces on the ground will do damage to the back of the bass. And we don't want to keep the instrument on its front side where the bridge is, as that could potentially break the bridge. Okay, now let's talk about the end pin. The end pin is this small metal rod at the very bottom of the bass, and this is to help prop the instrument higher for the taller students or for the taller musicians. All we have to do is loosen the screw here 1 or 2 turns and slide the end pin in or out. For a better view of the end pin, you can check out our cello week 1 lesson, as I have the end pin right here on the camera. But because I can't put the bass on my table, I can't really show you that. So how far do we have to take the end pin out? Well, it depends on how tall the musician is. We want to take it out maybe 4 to 5 inches out of the bottom hinge, but that's really entirely up to the height of the students. 4 or 5 inches probably for myself. And then we tighten the screw. For most of our 3rd grade students, I will most likely not recommend having the end pin coming out because many of us are using just quarter-size basses, and it's about the height of all of our basses this year. So we, with 2 hands, bring the cello up to our side and our hip. The cello should come in contact with our body in 2 places as of now. First place is our hip. The second is our left hand thumb behind the neck. Now it's a bit tricky for the bass, as the bass is huge, but there is a good way to balance the bass without feeling that the bass is very heavy. We will bring the corner of this bass into our hip, into our waists. Not entirely to the side of our bodies, not entirely in front of our bodies, but in the corner of the bass and the side of our hip, corner of our hip. The idea is to balance the corner of this bass up against our body, pretending the palm of my hand is my waist, and being able to hold it up there. And sometimes, yes, the bass will fall forwards or back, but our left hand's here to keep it in place. The reason why is we want to be able to have mobility and move from one side to the next. And this provides some flexibility. We don't want to lean our waist or our hip onto the flat side of the bass or the back flat side of the bass, as this does not really, keeping the bass in front of us and the back to our tummy will not allow us to reach over for the string easily, and keeping the bass too close to the side and our hip will not allow us to bow on the lowest string either, our E string. So we want to be on the corner of the bass. You'll see I will put my hip into the corner of the bass, and I'll turn it around so that you can have another view of it. And when we try balancing it, we don't want the bass leaning too far towards us because that will make it feel heavier at the top. And we don't want to necessarily have it straight up and down, as it will fall over to the other side or any other 360 degrees. We want slightly leaning towards us in our standing position. And I don't teach our students to use the stools just yet because I want them to get used to maneuvering their entire bodies around the bass, not from a sitting position. So when we hold this bass in this position on the corner, the bass will want to either rock back or it'll want to rock forwards, which is okay. We'll have our right hand here to catch it on one side and the left hand to catch it on the other side. But get used to trying to hold on to the bass with just the hip right now. Yes, it will go back and forth, but once we have the second item, body part on the bass, it will be much easier. We're going to have our left hand thumb in the upper third of the base neck. In many of our bases, I've put a sticker marker here to indicate where we want to keep the thumb. First, we'll create a cup holding posture with the hand. So we want to pretend we're holding onto a cup. And we're going to put the tip of the thumb on the sticker, or about 2/3 the way up the neck. We're going to hover our other 4 fingers on the other side of the strings, but without touching the strings. This will free up the strings so that they can ring and vibrate. Now the bass is sort of leaning back on our left hand and on the corner of our hip, and it should be balancing nicely. And from the back view, now let's start plucking. Once we've created this posture, we're going to take our right hand and form an L with our index finger, thumb, and middle finger, putting the index finger and the middle finger next to each other. We're going to bring our thumb to the fingerboard, the side of it, to stabilize the hand. And we're going to pluck the strings with 2 fingers at a time, together, like such. Instead of using only 1 finger, just because having only 1 finger makes this 1 finger pad very sore after a while, so we'll support the plucking with 2 fingers simultaneously, together. Okay, let me introduce the strings to you. So we have our posture, corner of the bass, on the corner of our hip, left hand creating a cup, bent fingers, thumb behind the neck, 2/3 the way up, right hand thumb on the side of the fingerboard, and we're going to reach all the way to the string farthest from our thumb, which is the G. We'll pluck 4 G's together. I'll count you off. 1, 2, ready, G. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next string in will be the D string. I'll count you off for 4 D's. 1, 2, ready, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go to the next string in the 3rd string, which is the A string. Set. 1, 2, ready, A. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last string, the lowest string, the thickest string, the E string, closest to our thumb. And we don't have to pluck too hard, we don't want to hurt ourselves, just lightly brushing it. E string, 1, 2, ready, E. 1, 2, 3, 4. That wraps up the lesson for this week. We will bring the bass down on its side with 2 hands, left hand always holding on to the neck securely, and the right hand preferably right underneath the rib. Here, we'll roll it down on its side. And if you did take out the end pin, loosen the end pin 1 or 2 turns and slowly slide the end pin in, and then tighten back up. Well, I hope you enjoyed our video. Thank you for watching. Happy practicing.